Calvin Medlock here with Program 9 Baseball Podcast. Today we have Justin Freeman on the show. We're going to talk about baseball. All right. All right. Cut that. Don't take that. That's for them. Mechanical baseball, right? Mechanical baseball. Calvin Medlock here with Program 9 Baseball Podcast. Today we have Justin Freeman here, who also runs the training program of mechanical baseball, building the pitcher. He's a young guy that I met about a year and a half ago, and he's taken on to his own and giving knowledge back to youth pitchers, college pitchers. I'm pretty sure at some point he's going to work with a lot of pro guys. Uh, he's very young. He's very motivated. He's very talented and giving the knowledge. One thing about me is when I see young guys get into training and doing things to build a youth model, I think the thing I try to notice is the passion behind what they're teaching. And for me, I started this journey when I was 18, and I've come a long way, of course. I've been 21 years in. So, seeing young guys do it, it's always humbling, and it's always, what I say is I look up to them in a way of, keeping me motivated, keeping me on my toes, keeping me, balanced to know that, somebody's out here that's doing the same thing as you, but they're a little bit more fresher in their legs. Nice to have you on the show, Justin.
Well, thank you very much. It's a wonderful introduction. I don't really know how to follow that up, but it's a pleasure to be here with you, Coach Calvin. Like you said, we met about a year and a half ago. I saw another African American man running a baseball program, and he's actually running it. He has multiple teams. It's not just one team. It's a whole facility. He's doing his thing, giving back to his community. He volunteers with the Sienna group from time to time when the coaches have to come back to the field. So it was just an easy connection when I saw him out there working and doing this thing. So yeah, it's a pleasure to be here with you, big dog.
Good deal. Good deal. So today we're going to talk about a few things. We have an outline lined up where we're going to talk about balance. We're going to talk about a routine, which if you're a pitcher, you have to know that the routine is the most important.
Yes.
A week-to-week routine, your throwing routine, is something that I harp on with a lot of pitchers, with a lot of kids that are training.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing is staying consistent. I've been saying that, man, for years, and I don't think it will ever change.
Yeah.
We will talk about the mindset of youth, high school, and college pitchers, a throwing program, controlling the running game, and of course, pitchers. The last thing that we must master is understanding the hitter's mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start with balance. What's some of the things or the key points that you kind of talk about with young pitchers on balance?
Well, I always like to relate it to hitting because that's pretty much why everybody likes to play baseball. They like to hit. Hitting is fun, and basic hitting coaches always teach their players to hit from the ground up or from their legs. So they always start with being balanced on the front side and on the back side. Now I take that exact analogy and put it into your delivery. When you start the delivery, that will be your front side. When you finish your delivery, that will be your back side. So we have to be balanced before we throw our pitch and after we throw our pitch. So we do a lot of single leg stuff like single leg squats, rotational stuff with the hips, toe touches. We do some hip flips on the ground to help increase that hip shoulder separation, which can also make balance a little bit easier. But it's a nice variety of like drills we can do to help keep them balanced.
Okay. One of the drills that I think the youth kids, and when I say youth, I'm talking between 9 and 12, 13, is at home just standing on one leg.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is it's also finishing on that front leg that's going down and also learning how to balance on that front foot. So it's not only your back foot, it's your front foot, learning how to transfer that weight over your knee and not get on the side of it. That's why we see a lot of pitchers, young pitchers, they fall off because they have a lot of their weight, the direction of the direction of their follow through is most of the time
going towards
going
the first base side.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
And then to go with what you just said about the direction, the young pitchers that might be able to throw strikes will get tired a little sooner because the legs lose their power. Now they can't control everything. They still know how to control they still know how to throw strikes. They just don't have the strength to force their body to keep it going.
And so that's where the routine of a conditioning program. I'm not going to say a weight program, but definitely doing something at home: squats, lunges, broad jumps, stuff like that. That's going to build your core. That's going to help your legs last a little bit longer. And for me, it's going to allow that pitcher to have that endurance to finish off getting after the third inning.
Yeah, definitely.
I know for us in pro ball, it was the fifth inning hump. I'll call it. In youth, it's third inning hump. A lot of times we see pitchers, they go 3 innings and dive out. I always say, hey, you're going into the fourth inning. This is where you're going to really have to push through.
But you see, to go with what you just said, that 3 inning dive, that can also come from guys overexerting from pitch to pitch. Since everything is so velocity based and we want guys 95 plus 100, we got kids throwing 100% max effort on every pitch.
First pitch.
And you cannot drive a car a very long distance if you're pushing on the gas from the start to the end. So we got to find kind of like a cruising speed. I don't want to say lay it in there because, of course, we're not trying to make it easy for the hitter, but we got to be able to operate. I like to call it like the 75 to 90% range. Then when you need to rev up to that 95, 98%, you can reach back with that fastball, or you can spin that curveball a little harder, or we could make that change up dive. But that cannot be every pitch because, like Coach said, you'll be out there in the third inning.
Yeah, that's it. So, talking about routines, what was your routine when you was in college?
So when I first came in, my freshman year, I was a starter. And then the year after that, I was a closer. So I'll go through both of those. Starting was every 7 days because I would think I was a Sunday guy. I had some upperclassmen in front of me, but I'm still starting as a freshman, so I don't care. So it would be a heavy lift the day I'll start. Let's say I start on Sunday. The next day will be heavy leg day. The day after that will be a distance run. And heavy leg day will be a lot of squats, a lot of deadlifts, power cleans. What is it? The trap bar that you stand in? Yeah, that. And then we would always stretch after that heavy lift day because I can't emphasize this enough. You can get as strong as an ox. If you have no range of motion, it's not going to transfer into baseball. You're not running into a wall. It's not football. We're not running up and down the court all day. It's not basketball. It's a mixture of that explosion, but in a certain direction. You're starting off facing this way and going that way, so we got to be able to rotate easily. But back to that because I was getting sidetracked. Day one would be heavy lift, a lot of leg stuff. Day two would be a heavy distance run. We would either run campus, which I believe was 2.7 miles, or extended campus, which was, I think, 3.8 miles. And the difference was just running behind the dorms or cutting in front of them. That was all. Day three, I will go bullpen again. Bullpen and sprints. So day one, after the start, I wouldn't throw. Day two will be the long toss and the distance run to get going again. Day three will be a bullpen and sprints. Day four, I believe, will be a short box and an upper body lift. Yeah. Day five is maybe long toss again. Getting blurred, man. It's been a while. It's been a long time.
So the short box, that's what you threw in front of the plate?
Yep.
Yeah, yes, so we call that, what did we call that?
Flat ground.
Nah, flat ground is flat ground.
Yeah.
We had something for it.
Yeah. But the thing with me was I had so many different pitching coaches. My routine changed every year.
Yeah.
From coach to coach, depending on what the overall program's idea of being ready for the game was. But I still have my own routine that I would do, like it would be my J-bands or my stretches or my running. That was pretty much what I kept super consistent. I kept my running really consistent from like my sophomore year when I threw my hardest to like my first senior year before I tore my rotator cuff.
So question, when you say your sophomore year is when you threw your hardest, did you change anything from your freshman year to your sophomore year?
No, sir. I was just a closer. So I was not trying to pitch for length anymore. I was just trying to get 3 outs. So I was throwing everything with maximum effort, like I was talking about not doing. But it's different when you're coming out the bullpen.
Correct.
Because you're responsible for those handful of guys.
I actually played in both roles in
Yeah.
my career playing. And when I was a starter, I could go 7 innings easy. My first 2 innings, I was more trying to set guys up for their second time
Yeah,
coming up.
exactly.
So location was very important to me.
Mhm.
When I came around, when they came around the second time, that's when I kind of got after them different.
Mhm.
And then a third time around, it was just a cat and mouse game.
Yeah.
It's kind of,
So
you know,
I like that idea too. We had to do the book on days we weren't starting.
uh-huh,
So my freshman year when I was coming in on Sunday, I saw what we did on Friday and what we did
correct.
on Saturday. So I
Uh-huh,
saw what to do to get guys out and what they liked to see to hit it hard. So kind of already had like a little script to run off of. That was
yeah,
a little different senior year when I had those Friday starts,
yeah.
going out there blindfolded and just trying to hit spots. But it's all good. It was a
When I
wonderful
got to
experience.
Double A, they started the 5 game series,
Okay.
and it was great for the guy that pitched last,
Yeah.
but it sucked for the guy that pitched first.
Yep.
And so, the third and fourth guy, especially when I was in the bullpen, by the time we got to the third game, like we literally knew what every hitter weakness
Yeah.
and strength was.
Mhm.
So most of the time, those last 2 games, it was either low scoring games or it was either a blast fest because we're coming in and they already know what the bullpen has.
Yeah, exactly.
And now
It's
they
on the
like,
starter.
okay, this is a fastball slider guy, and the
Mhm.
slider is his number one pitch. Or his fastball changeup, and
Mhm.
changeup is his out pitch. So it got very hard pitching deeper into series like that,
Mhm.
so that was kind of different.
So we
So,
can go straight off of that into being a student of the game.
correct.
All the ball players that are listening in, everybody that's focused on what we just talked about on how the series gets longer, the hitters know what's coming, the pitchers know how to get guys out. It's because we studied the outs or the script of the game. If somebody grounded out to a fastball away and hit a fastball inside 600 feet, why would I ever throw that fastball inside again?
Yeah.
You feel me? So it's kind
Yeah.
of like you only adjust when you have to adjust. If something's working, keep doing it if it's working.
Yes. And that's kind of how I actually call pitches for the teams I coach.
Mhm.
And so, for me, very rarely do I have my catcher shake me off.
Yeah.
But I have this saying with him: if you shake me off, I'm not saying you better be right,
But you better not
but
be wrong.
but I'm gonna want to know why, just in case you saw something that
Mhm.
I didn't see. And sometimes I had one catcher tell me, he said, Coach, he was late on a fastball. I didn't want to throw a changeup.
Mhm.
And I said, okay.
Speed is bad up, get him on
So we
speed.
threw a fastball. We struck the kid out.
Mhm.
And when he told me that, I said, okay. I said, you got the next inning. If you need help, you ask me. Um, and, from a catching standpoint, branching off to this catching deal,
Mhm.
pitchers and catchers, they have to trust their instinct
Mhm.
instead of being in the mindset of, oh, my breaking ball is not working, so I don't want to throw it no more.
Mhm.
You can't just throw that in the can. You have to have confidence in it that you still have to show it.
Mhm.
That way, they would not stay on your fastball. And eventually, you're going to have to find your breaking ball or your changeup if you want to pitch 4 or 5 innings deep into games. And that's the mindset of, youth, high school, college pitchers is you have to mentally be checked in and dialed in to where nobody can really see if you're struggling.
Yeah.
So that's the next topic that we're going to get into. That was the routine. It's very important that youth baseball players understand a band routine, what long toss is. What's your definition of long toss?
Stretching it out until I can throw it as far as possible without it being on an arc.
Yeah. So see, we're on the same wavelength as on that.
Mhm.
I was taught the same thing. We throw it on the line as far as we can, without putting too much
Mhm.
on it. And then when we come in, we want to make sure that we're throwing a ball
Downhill. That's how I start.
downhill and at least on reach high.
Mhm.
So you don't want to go above that hand. So you don't want to overthrow it. If anything, you want to hit the belt. Like that's the target. That's going to allow you to get that extension out front. That's going to allow you to stay behind the ball and get that backspin on the ball. And then once you get closer, you throw your flat ground and stuff like that. I used to watch Latin guys long toss in pro ball. And
I
if
did
you
in
ever seen
college,
a
too.
and if you ever seen a Latin guy long toss,
Have you seen the one finger?
ah,
So it was this guy named Rafa. I want to say Rafa Diaz.
mhm.
He was a senior my freshman year. He showed me the one finger long toss. If you got on the side of it, he was almost throwing it over the outfield fence every time because you had no control of it. Yeah, it's real forearm, like real precise. You got to be exactly right behind the ball to get it to go where you want to. And they was throwing it foul line to foul line. It was crazy.
Wow.
But he sat about 92, 94, so
Yeah.
made sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Made sense.
I played with a guy. His name is Alex Barfan, and he would literally throw foul pole to foul pole on a line almost.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I'm just like, how do you do that?
It's all in the hips and the core.
And he also threw 99 to 101. So that part translated.
Yeah.
That translated to the mound.
Yeah.
I was a guy, for me, I threw from the foul line to center field. Like I never saw any need. In the off season, I used to go to the football field and throw from the 1 to about the other 20.
Me and my boys in the off season too, and like fall ball, when we would come back from doing like the strength and conditioning, like the running stuff in the mornings after classes at night. We'd always have our practices, and we'd long toss field goal post to field goal post.
Yeah.
So back in the end zone, back in the end zone.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on throwing footballs and throwing weighted balls?
Not a fan of throwing weighted balls. I'm not gonna say the weighted balls are the reason I messed up my shoulder and my rotator cuff, but I'll say they definitely added stress to it. When I tore my rotator cuff, I believe my arm slide was just way too high. I was coming back like over the top, like almost touching my head or having to lean a little bit. And when I'm comfortable and normal, it's almost like a 3/4 out here.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really watching enough film of myself, and unfortunately, I didn't have a coach that was telling me, "Hey, Justin, you way too on top of the ball." But the weighted balls, some of them are good. Some of them transfer to throwing motions. If your arm slide is nowhere near the position that you're doing your exercises in, though, it's not going to help you.
Yeah.
Like if I'm a sidearm guy and I'm throwing over the top with these weighted balls, I'm messing up my slot and the power's not going to go there.
Yeah.
And then I don't like adding too much weight to what you're doing because, like I said, we got to be flexible and explosive. So if this is laying back or stretching or tearing so much that it's not healing in time or keeping up with what you're trying to do, you're just going to be digging yourself in a hole.
And so we do the weighted ball program in the Nation Elite program, but I do a modified. I only do 3 of them. And
exactly.
The reason I picked those 3 is those 3 are almost like just doing regular jobs and stuff like that. And when they ask me about throwing weighted balls, I tell them just throw a football.
Yeah, so I'm a fan of almost all the weighted ball exercises except like 2 or 3. All the ones where you're throwing them forward, I'm against. I'm cool with the one where you turn and throw it against the wall, the like tosses where you throw it up, the drops out to the side. I think it's like 2 more, but they're all fine. I think it's like another one where you like swing or something, but as long as you're not coming over the top and throwing it forward like you throw a baseball.
Yeah. Medicine ball throws.
That's great.
Yeah, that I think that helps the core, the sides, everything like that. I think from a standpoint of with the weighted balls, I think the parents, the most, they need to know the knowledge behind it. Because as kids or players, young players, they're going to go through it, but sometimes they're not going to understand it until they've been doing it 2-3 years. You know, like that's how it works, right? And I know in our program, a lot of velocities have peaked over the last year and a half. And I think it's a big thing coming from us doing that plyo program
and the J-bands
but not overdoing it, but staying consistent. And I think when kids go home and they're doing it and they're conditioning and then they're working out, it starts to build, and now their bodies now been doing it a year or 2. Now they're getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Now the whole key is just stay consistent. And so that's it on that. So let's talk about the mindset of the high school and college as a pitcher. I know for me, I was the type of pitcher in high school where, you know, when you give me the ball and the coach say, "Hey, you're starting," there's nobody else coming in. Like
yeah, that's it.
It's me.
Yeah.
That's it. When I got to college, I was the last draft and follow class. And I was going there to be a starter, and I ended up being a closer.
Mm.
And so my mindset had to change.
Mm.
And it was different it was somewhat the same, but different in high school. In high school, I was always that attack.
Yeah.
So closing, of course, I'm still in attack
Mhm.
mode. But this time, I can't give up runs. 9 times out of 10, I'm coming in a one-run ball.
Game. Why don't you run game? Yep.
So the mindset of me being sharper, faster was a little bit more key.
Yeah.
What did you pick up going from starter to reliever?
I say that bullpen routine. I learned how to shorten my starter routine. Well, not shorten it, break it up some before the game, some during the game at a certain point in the innings. Like, let's call it, if I was going to close that game or thought I would close, I'd warm up with the team, do all my leg stuff before the game. And I start doing my J bands around like the 5th, 6th, 7th inning. Then I'd really start throwing 7th, 8th. And if I'm needed in the 9th, I'm hot and I'm ready to go.
Okay. So as a high school pitcher, how would you express to them about how to get in a mindset and a routine if you're not starting a game, but you might pitch?
I was kind of, not gonna lie, I was kind of like, I don't want to call it a psycho, but there was a zone that I would go into whenever I'm between the two foul lines.
Yep.
That individual isn't the individual in the hallway, at school, at church, on the street. Yeah, like I got the beats on. Everybody on the bus can hear what I'm listening to on my beats.
Mm-hmm.
I'm locked in. I'm ready to go, and it's not just like chaos. It's a control rage. Like I'm still trying to stay within my mechanics, still get strike one,
Yeah.
but all I'm thinking about is getting outs and envisioning you walking back to the dugout and strike three and my boys turning double plays. All the
Yeah.
things you want as a pitcher.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, it's funny that you said that kind of feel
Lots of
crazy.
ego,
Like for me, the day I was pitching, I didn't talk to nobody.
Yep.
I didn't talk to my teammates. I didn't talk to my coach. I didn't even talk to class.
They get it. They understand it, especially if you get the guys out.
And so after a while, one of my coaches, Coach Cooper, he used to say, he's in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
He's not even talking. And like he's sitting here right next to me. And I'm not even like it's nothing he's saying that's gonna knock me off my game.
Locked in,
But the second that game is over,
I'm back to normal.
I'm back to normal. It's like I check out.
Yeah.
So for me,
on the flip side of that, hold on before you even go into for me. On the flip side of that, if I pitched terrible, I had a horrible time getting over that shit. I'm sorry, getting over that thing and moving forward. So it was that's what I can say I learned from going from starter to reliever. Since I had such a shorter time to be away from the mound, I could get over it quicker. So when I was about to start again, I could be like, all right, I got another start coming, or I attacking my bullpen or my next live outing, like a outing to kind of flush it and forget it.
The thing with me with pitching, because I pitch, I had very minimum failure, right? Like I didn't fail a lot. And so now when I'm coaching youth kids and the teams, if I have a pitcher that has a bad outing, I'm looking to get him right back on the mound ASAP. Like, and so for me, I think it's a trust thing for them being in the coach. Like, oh, he still trusts me. Most coaches, if a kid has a bad outing, they do not put him back out there. And I'm like, no, you need to put him back out there because you need him to get in rhythm. Like pitching is hard. It's one of the hardest things in baseball besides hitting, right?
Sports. Don't even say just baseball. It's sports.
It's a mental grind. It's a confidence killer.
You're on an island by yourself.
Everybody's looking at you.
The game don't start until you throw that pitch.
You got a 3-2 count, bases loaded. Your team just scored 4 runs, and you go out and walk the first guy.
Umpire been squeezing you all day, but you got to still locate.
Yeah, and so you have all these things that's going on, and then you have to hold runners on. You have to throw your breaking ball, run and get on base. You have to slide stuff. Like it's a lot of things that goes into pitching. And the biggest thing for me is most of the time when I go out to talk to pitchers, depending on, how I want to coach that day.
Yeah.
Because I always say I have like 3 or 4 different coaching styles. I have the quarterback coach because I was a quarterback where I'm just super positive. That guy comes out when it's a big tournament or a big game because I don't want them to freeze up.
Yeah.
Then you have the "you gonna figure it out" coach. That's mostly Saturdays. Then you have, "Hey, are you all right? Like, you need to get it going. Otherwise, I'm taking you out the game." All right. And then you have the guy that goes out and it's some choice words. And it's more so those guys that's been around me. And I just straight up tell them, like, if you ain't throwing strikes, you're not pitching no more.
Yeah.
Because you have to find a way to get these kids locked in. And sometimes you have to let them understand, regardless of what's going on, at the end of the day, locate your fastball.
Yeah.
And so from the mindset for me for youth pitchers, when in doubt, just throw a fastball low and away.
Yeah.
Hitters cannot adjust to hitting fastballs low and away.
Yes, and I was going to talk about that exact mindset, but the difference from level to level. So like you said, in the youth, throw that fastball low and away. Now, when you get to that high school, now you can locate your fastball a little bit more in and out and change speeds. You'll have success. Now, magnify that again. College, change speeds, locate that breaking ball, locate that fastball, and then be able to, I don't want to say intimidate hitters, but be able to have like mind games or get somebody off balance, because all it is keeping the hitter off balance. If you can throw a hitter's timing off, whether it's through his thought process or him actually thinking he's on time and he's not, or putting a little spin on it, you put yourself in a good position. But it's just the game gets a little bit more detailed for pitchers the older and the higher levels you get. That's all.
Correct. Speaking on the college guys, so I pitched in college for 1 year. You spent more time in college. What?
Excuse me.
What is a mindset coming from high school to college from a mental standpoint?
I thought I was the man. And then a couple upperclassmen, seniors, humbled me real quick. I left a couple fastballs up. I got hit off over it was a big monster in center field. I think it was 4 or 5 dead center. And then the fence is like maybe 30 feet. Yeah. So, we had a Puerto Rican catcher, De La. All he did was swing for the fence. He got me like twice, but that was when I started to develop my breaking ball and throw that a little bit more. When I came in freshman year, I was beating so many people in high school with my fastball. I thought my little 87, 88 was still going to play. Yeah. But that's when I developed my changeup more, had my curveball working, and had my slider. It was a true 4-pitch mix, and that's how I survived and got that little starting position.
Gotcha. So you threw a lot of strikes.
Yes, sir.
To be a starter,
got to get ahead in the count.
Best pitch in baseball is strike one. The next pitch, strike two.
Without a doubt.
Whatever pitch that is, just get strike one, and then you can work off of that. Okay.
I don't know exactly what the numbers were, but they said the difference from 00 to 01 to 02 and batting averages went from like at 00, I think it was around like 700. Then 01 went to like 270 or 260. So you cut it in half just from getting strike one.
It's a big drop off.
Humongous drop off.
Big drop off.
Yeah.
And so I know some coaches, they talk about wasting a pitch. I don't believe in that. I believe in throwing a pitch for a purpose. And so for me, if I'm going to call a fastball up, which I call a lot,
it's still got to be competitive.
Exactly. It's got to be a competitive pitch, and it can't be over the.
It's not doing anything.
It can't be over the batter's head. I want him to at least attempt to engage the swing. A couple of things happen on that. One, you can repeat that pitch.
Yep.
And he might go for it. Two, you can throw a breaking ball.
Pitch. Yep.
And then, of course, the one pitch.
Because it was just a fastball up for a ball.
The one pitch that I always say is you can shake and then throw a fastball on the way. The reason I say to shake, that puts that doubt of a breaking ball. And then I just threw you a fastball away, and I just locked you up. I just locked you up. The slide step routine. I think that's something that hasn't been focused on enough for select. So I see a lot of guys that we face, man, they're high leg kick city. And I
2-3 steps off the bag before the ball's even out the hand.
Yeah, and I got a rule of thumb for that. High leg kick, you do not need the green light. Go.
Yeah.
Get out of there.
Yeah.
And if you don't, I just start counting. That's one. That's two. How many times you guys gonna let him high leg kick? And so for us as pitchers, I know we teach it, but how important it is for pitchers to learn this in their bullpen routine.
It's super important. I like Nestor Cortez from the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
He mixes it up a lot, even when there aren't runners on base, just to try and throw off hitters' timing. If you can hold and out the wind up, take it over your head, be extra exaggerated. Now, this is only if you can repeat your delivery.
Yes.
When you're doing the same thing over and over again. If you're struggling to throw strikes, don't start doing extra stuff because then you're going to get pulled off the mound. But when you pound in the zone and you got a guy that's fouling pitch off, fouling a pitch off, fouling a pitch off, slide step on him. If nobody's on base, who cares? It's not a balk.
It's not.
Slide step. Don't even come set. Throw the pitch. The only person that can stop you is the umpire. If he doesn't say anything, do it again.
Exactly.
Play the game.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Well,
So that's interesting, and I think that's the best mindset as pitchers from youth to high school to college is understand the levels of it, but understand you can't cheat a level without trying to. You can't jump levels and then go back. You want to master each one or get close to mastering it and understanding it as you move forward for youth baseball. Calvin Medlock here with Program 9 Baseball, here with Mechanical Baseball, Justin Freeman. We're going to take a little bit of a breather right now. When we come back, we're going to talk about the running game, and we're going to talk about hitters' mindset. Stay tuned. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So we got those out of the way. So like the running game, of course, it's very your looks, slide step, high leg kick. I know
you can have something about calling pick plays from like the shortstop or second baseman, put it on with the catcher, the catcher dropping his glove.
Yep. That's the biggest thing. So what I see a lot, I see it at first base, but I don't see it at second base. So like if
first baseman call for a back pick.
Well, that, or he'll say, hey, big lead, or they'll say colors like red, green, whatever, right? But like at second base, I don't think the middle infielders are taught to kind of read when the runner's getting big and how to tell them, hey, step off or shorten up. Like they see them getting big and they'll say, hey, go pitch. Like, you about to.
Yeah, so my coach, Carrick Jackson, shout out to Coach Carrick Jackson, first black SEC head coach now with the Mizzou Tigers. So shout out to you for teaching the infielders. But he would have the second baseman, shortstop, kind of attack the guy's back pocket. Then if you see him moving away from the bag, that's when you will open glove and call for the pick. You always want the pick to come when their momentum is taking them towards the next base. It's going to be hard for them to kind of adjust and go back. But it would just be like something simple. Like let's say he's in and out. Whenever he would want the catcher to signal for the pitcher to throw the ball, he would like flash his glove open. So if he's in and out, his glove is going to stay closed the whole time until he's ready for that throw. But same deal. Second baseman could kind of have the same idea. You know, he's on the other side of the bag. They might be talking back and forth where the shortstop baits him, and now the shortstop's getting back to his position, and the guy's extending his lead. Now all of a sudden, the second baseman crashes, and then there's the throw. So it's a lot of different ways they can just like alert the catcher, because you just want to make sure it's not when the pitcher's looking back, because that's super obvious.
Yeah, it's. I know the way I was taught is you want to have like a rhythm with your second baseman, shortstop, and we teach the two look. If we haven't done anything about a second, we're probably not going to look at third because now we're about to pitch off. But I think it's the job of the shortstop to make sure that the runner is not moving toward third a lot, but it's also the second baseman. Also, he can pull him back as well by just giving him a little attention, and it could just be a clap, it could be a couple steps,
jab step,
and then once the pitcher picks up home, of course you got to pick up your target. You don't want to be looking at second trying to go home. once you pick up your target, that's when you break.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course the catcher. What I tell my catchers, that guy is right in front of you, and if you see him getting too big, you can always backpick.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some rule of thumbs when it comes to the running game, which is once we get into um, the running game, it's all about making sure they stop their feet.
Yeah.
Especially at second base.
Mm-hmm.
Third base, we're not gonna pay them no mind. But at second base, you want to make sure they stop their feet. When the feet stop, now we can go to work.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're looking at him and he's steady moving down toward third, no, that's you need to show him a little bit more attention right now.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the time, you can do an inside move, you can do a spin move, you can hold 3 seconds. What I used to do when guys was getting big leagues, I would just hold till somebody called timeout.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wasn't gonna throw a pitch until you stopped, and then you went back to the bag. And then once I came set, I gave you one look, and I slide step.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next time up, I look at you a long time, look at third, look back, look at third, look at home, go home.
Yep. So you had like a way to either get the runner comfortable over there or get him off balance to where you could throw your pitch, and that's just setting up the runner.
Yeah. So the running game aspect really kicks in when the kids get to high school and college.
Yeah.
Youth baseball.
Or just 60-90, even if they still in like 7th, 8th grade. But 60-90.
At the youth levels, 9U, 10U, 11U, we're just trying to get them to understand how to
what's coming in the future.
How to control the running
game.
Give
them a little teaspoon taste of what's coming.
We're really not trying to get them to actually control the running game,
mm-hmm.
but
it's on your mind.
We want you to understand, hey, if he's getting big, you want to stop him.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
But I still need you to focus on throwing strikes.
Yeah.
So I don't need you to focus on him too much unless he gets here.
And the way I like to make it simple for my pitchers, we always focused on throwing strikes until I put on like the pick play sequence, which will be the slow footwork, slow arm for the first one. And a quick move, almost like the balk move. Because when you go slow move, slow arm, they like, oh, okay, I got room. I give me one more step. Now all of a sudden, when you got footwork and you glove to ear like a catcher and now swinging that arm up, they haven't even dove back yet and the ball's already out your hand. So that's how you can kind of like set up a runner to get a little bit more comfortable, extend their lead, and then get them out. Like how you were saying, you would have your holds until they will call time, come set for 1 second, quick pitch, come set, look second, go. Like just a mixture, trying to stay out of that type of routine when you're pitching.
And see that long and slow, I've never thought about that.
Yeah, you know about that one? Yes,
that
gets really good runners out. That one and the balk move, I was taught 2 balk moves. One where you break the heel of your foot in the ground. That one's really subtle. And then one where you break your inner knee. You don't even move your foot. It's just the knee shifting like it's about to come off the ground. And that's, like I was saying, that's when you
can pull off some of those. Do that
in
football, and it was like, that's a bar. That's a bar.
It is 100% because I'm deceiving the runner. I'm not going to the plate.
But you really have to be paying attention for that.
But that's when you got a high IQ base runner like an Acuna or a De La Cruz or a Trey Turner. And you know this guy's about to try and move up a base because you're only up by 1 or 2 runs. Now he's trying to advance. Now you put on that slow foot, slow arm, long arm move. He tries to extend his lead because he thinks he's going next pitch. Snap throw to first. You got him.
Yeah. So that's good on that. So we talked about the running game, giving the options, the different sequence that you can do picks. And it's mainly at second base. I think at first base, it's about a whole thing and about a distance. 9 times out of 10, we know who's stealing.
Yeah.
It's not a secret. But at second base, to me, third base can be easy to steal if the pitcher has no clue what he's doing. And so that's kind of the deal is, holding guys on at second is 3 guys that have to make this work to keep them close. And it has to be a consistent flow between those guys at second moving in and out, working together.
Mm-hmm.
They call it the yin yang, the little string pull, stuff like that. That's something that works.
And you can make that a little smoother too by implementing a system. Like only the catcher can call picks. He's either calling the thumb pick for the pitcher, telling them directly when there's a guy at first, or he's dropping a glove and telling them to spin and throw to first or spin and throw to second.
Yeah.
Or the other system will be your base run pull. Your defenders or your infielders are calling for the picks. So they're like going to their cap, signaling for the throw. And that's when you would have the throws when the pitcher's looking at the base versus when they're looking at the catcher and the catcher's calling the play. So that's how you can kind of mix it up as well.
For the guys that I have at the 14 and the 13, well, mainly the 14s, because I've been with them a lot longer and I've taught them a little bit more about picking guys at second.
Yeah.
We have a wheel play.
Yeah.
We have a daylight play.
Mm-hmm.
We have a.
I remember when that wheel play got famous and everybody started doing it.
Yeah. Well, we did the wheel play in high school.
Yeah.
And in pro ball, it just doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Because everybody like, come on now.
Yeah, it's not too many pick plays work in pro ball. Mm-hmm. You have a better chance of throwing somebody out by picking just to the bag regularly, right? Mm-hmm. But to do like trick plays or wheel plays, it really don't work.
Yeah, no.
But at the youth level and high school level,
you're searching for that out sometimes. And
you need it. And college.
Same idea, yeah. Like, you be searching for that out on that Sunday game.
Yeah, those guys.
It's a slow one.
Yeah.
Now we're trying to steal some outs.
Yeah. So let's talk about the hitter's mindset. From a pitching standpoint, for me, they always say that hitters, they have holes in their swing. Mm-hmm. I know for me, I'm going to identify every youth hitter cannot hit fastballs low and away.
Yeah. Is that right? Trying to pull the ball.
Yeah. I'm going to say 95% of them can. The 5% that can
are playing up and playing with 15 to 16 years right now.
And so for me, when we teach and we hitting off the tee, we teach them hitting away, but it takes years for the kids to learn how to really focus to hit it that way. Mm-hmm. What do you think from a pitching standpoint that these youth guys need to understand about hitters
and their mindset? Well, when I was pitching, I would like to try and classify the hitters in like a category. Like you have your contact hitters, you have your power hitters, your guys that's swinging for the fence, and you have your guys that like have no game plan, and then you have your guys that are actually adjusting. So if you can figure out what you're facing, and you can usually tell from the swings that they're taking in the box. You can see them when they're warming up. If you're paying attention, really, you can see them when they're taking BP before the game. But yeah, trying to just classify them into a category. But the ones I hated to face or pitch were the contact hitters. I hate a contact hitter because they literally take what they're given and just make it work. And it's usually just a base hit in the hole or something down the line. If you make a mistake, they'll punish you with a line drive in the gap. But that's when you go in 2-2, 3-2, foul ball. That's annoying. I'd much rather face a power hitter or a guy that's not adjusting because I could just attack your weakness. Yeah. You're trying to pull the ball, like Coach was saying, fastball down the way, breaking ball down the way. I might show you a fastball inside, but it's going to be off the plate. It's not going to be for a strike because if you hit it, you're going to hit it a mile foul, and who cares? Then I'm going back outside. So it's just trying to figure out who you're facing. And then another idea, when you guys are hitting, you always have a 2-strike adjustment, right? You shorten up, try and be short and quick through the ball, try and cover the plate, anything close. You can attack that mindset as a pitcher by expanding the zone and not throwing a strike. You're now working with the edges of the plate, and you want something that's going to move further away from it. You don't want anything to be anywhere near close to strike when you're ahead in the count because that hitter's trying to protect. So if they see something close, let's call it a 2-seam in off the plate, they start that swing. Now all of a sudden it's on their shin, strike 3. Slider down and away off the plate, they start that swing. Now it's off the plate, strike 3. But that's when you have your mistakes where it hangs and backs up. Now it's just a middle BP fastball that got hit at 450 because they simplified their swing and tried to shorten it up. Hitters most of the time get themselves out a lot.
Yes.
Like how I was talking about pitchers watching hitters take BP. If you watch hitters take BP, they're still popping up the ball, and they're literally getting the ball lobbed to them. Yes. So if I'm throwing max effort and I'm locating 7 times out of 10, he's going to make it out. I just got to do my job and not leave it over the plate to make those 3 times out of 10 a little bit more in his favor.
Yeah. So this is what I've always thought about when I was pitching. There are 6 ways to get a hitter out.
Yeah.
You got up, down,
I heard
in,
you say that
out,
before.
front and back.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, in and out is fastball, up and down is fastball. I'm gonna beat you in front of the plate with my off speed, and then I'm beating you behind the plate because you're looking off speed, and I'm gonna get it by you. From a hitter's standpoint, mindset, I don't think they really put into detail as to what the pitcher is trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're up there with the game plan of, I want to try to get to second base and hit a double.
Yeah. Or they're just looking for, they're like hunting one pitch. Yeah.
And so for me, I call those, some of those hitters, he just got a one-track swing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get him out because I'm going to use his aggressiveness
against him,
to get him out.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think if young pitchers can understand those 6 things, you can work up in the zone, you can work down in the zone. In and out, I teach them way more than in, just because I don't like teaching in because I don't like hit batters. So I'm still not sold 13 below can pitch inside.
Man,
not everybody.
I love making not everybody. If you got a little bit of velo and you can locate, you can pitch in.
That's different. Yeah, you gotta have velo with location, right? Location is number 1.
Yeah. If you can just locate and you got average fastball, you can pitch in too. But we're not gonna pitch in for strikes. We're gonna pitch in off the plate.
And see, that's what I'm talking about.
Right between the strike, the plate and the batter's box. Yeah. That's in.
And so that's what I'm talking about. Because if I call a pitch inside fastball, you throw it down the middle and this gets smoked, bruh. Like, get it inside.
Yeah.
But don't hit him.
Mm-hmm.
You can move his feet. That's a totally different,
fine,
that's a different conversation, moving the feet. But the biggest thing is when you beat them in front of the plate, behind the plate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the part now we like to call it, you cooking with hot grease. Mm-hmm. Like, now you working. Mm-hmm. Because now they're off balance. And we faced a team this year. I'm not going to say the program name, but they was very good. We faced a team this year, and I called every pitch. We got to the last inning. I think it was like 4-2. They ended up scoring like 3 runs. We lost like 7-2 or 7-3. And every batter that came up, I'm like, crap, dude. Like, whew. But the thing is, the catcher for me, the pitchers for me, they understood, like, it's that important that you have your breaking ball. It's that important that you have your change up.
Yeah.
It's that important that you, when I call a fastball up,
you get it up,
you
change the eye level.
Mm-hmm. And, that's the biggest thing in moving up in the levels of playing is now the baseball IQ, the higher these kids play, the baseball IQ goes up. That means now the quality of pitches go up, the quality of at-bats come up. Defense, they have to show up. And then base runner has to show up. So I think all around, when we're talking about pitchers and we're talking about balance, the routine, the mindset, throwing program, controlling the running game, stuff like that, the biggest component is really them understanding hitters, what they are trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once they get a certain age to kind of master that, which I'm not going to say I know the age, but I'm going to say...
Because the kids all mature at different rates.
Exactly.
And whenever they can start playing chess on that baseball field, that's when they'll get to the level that we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's not just checkers jumping man to man. You have to figure out, like you were talking about when you were starting, how you're trying to get this guy out his next time around. So what did I throw him my first time around? What did he see? What did I get him out with? I might start him off with that this time. I might just flip it and pitch him backwards. So it's just a thought process.
Because some guys at 12U, you got to set those guys up.
Yeah.
Like, they're good.
Yeah.
We faced a 11U team, a 12U team, and these boys can play.
Yeah.
But to beat them, you're going to have a breaking ball and a changeup. Mm-hmm. These kids, they're 11. And I'm like, man. And so that's the direction that I think youth baseball in Houston is headed. Mm-hmm. We saw a big wave of talented teams. I think that's going to continue to kind of float that way and kind of beat a stitch on, in Houston about moving up. Uh, the last thing, I just think teaching pitching is something that's it's being taught by a lot of great guys.
But
I think,
it's not
yeah,
pitching anymore. They're teaching throwing. They're teaching
yes,
hurlers. I understand you can throw max effort, you can throw that baseball really hard, but if all you got is one gear, those hitters know how to go to Odyssey Fun World or Hollywood Inn or Marucci and turn the cage all the way up and hit that. It's just
yeah,
timing. So that's
yeah,
where the getting them off balance, getting them off the plate, moving their feet, front door, back door, front of the plate, back of the plate, all of that comes into effect because it's not a robot.
that's good. All right. Calvin Medlock here with Program 9 Baseball. Justin Freeman with Mechanical Baseball. Sitting here talking pitching, of course. That's what we do. Um, it was a great talk. We're going to have to do this a few more
Yeah, it
times.
was great being here with you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I feel like we still got a lot to talk about, man.
Oh, yeah.
That 45 minutes to an
Yeah, it
hour,
flew by.
man,
Yeah.
went fast. So we're back on the grind again. Hopefully to bring you guys a lot of variety of thoughts, information about pitching, catching, base running, infield, outfield play. Of course, hitting, because I think that's one of the next things from pitching and hitting with the youth staple in Houston. I think that's something that needs to be talked about. And again, it's baseball to me is a talk that there's no right or wrong. There are a lot of
There are a
philosophies.
lot of different ways to skin a cat.
I think from the mindset of when you talk to guys that have that experience, you kind of take what they say and you kind of just build it into your own. Nobody's gonna have, hey, you need to do it this way or that way. It's kind of, you know, to me, you just gotta be consistent.
Yeah.
And you gotta always be a student of the game. You gotta always look to learn more to help you become a better pitcher, become a better hitter, become a better fielder. And this is the biggest thing. Coaches, we all got to look at each other to get better as well. Thank you, Justin, for coming on. It was great having you here. Looking forward to seeing you more here with me, and let's keep making youth baseball better in Houston.
Yes, indeed. Let's build some ball players, coach.
All right. Thank you. All right. Let me cut this off.
Let me do one more little exit joint.
Yeah.
That's how you did, because we can still use that little banter from the end. I just want to